One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferraro. Wherever you are on the planet, we welcome you. I am somewhere on the planet close to water. I've been dreaming about being at the beach, just taking in the sounds of the ocean. And we always talk about the ocean and the drop and the wave and the ocean and all of this. It's just an amazing, nourishing time for me, and I hope it is for you. I hope you find ways to rejuvenate yourself and to really take your temperature check, to see how you're doing upon re-entry from the solitude. It's a trick. And I want to say this, to be gentle with yourselves. I'm personally experiencing just the overload of, wow, lots of people. Even though I'm safely making my way around, I'm outside most of the time, right by the ocean. Lots of people. It's a lot of stimulation I've not had to participate with in a while. So I'm noticing longer meditations or just breathing while I'm in it. So be gentle with yourself. And it's fun to watch the families running around, because I was realizing, yeah, they've been experiencing chaos this whole time. So the ocean is probably like a break from the chaos with the general chaos. It's a different kind of stimulation, so wow. But it's really been amazing. And this morning, that the talk is going to be on causeiousness. Some of you have heard this word. I created a couple of years ago, but it's when we're operating from cause rather than effect, the unseen world rather than what's already here through our senses. And so this morning we're going to welcome Helen Yi to take us through a practice of Qigong, which is energy, bringing in the energy that is always available to us, around us, in us. That's why it resonates inside, is working with as within, so without, as without, so within. There's no difference. It's just our level of awareness and perception that makes it so. So if you are in a comfortable space, or if not, get comfortable and open up to this practice of participating with, learning how to slow down and feel the energy that is available to us to recharge our batteries all the time.
It's a very unique name, and it's called repulsive monkey, or repulse monkey. So from here, the name is referring to our monkey mind. Like, there's a lot of chatter in our brain, and it's hard to kind of focus. So this one is collecting your energy, collecting your awareness, and just allowing your arms to come up, pushing the energy forward as you pull the other hand back, and just alternating that movement, pushing the chi, having your knees slightly bent helps, and pushing, alternating the hands, drawing the other hand back. Don't forget to breathe in and out, feeling that movement, collecting your mind's awareness to this point, centering it here in the present moment. And that'll be the last. In, coming down. Good. And now I will be closing with the gathering chi from the bubbling well. So from here, shoulder width apart, your feet. Take a deep breath in, bringing the arms up above the head, connecting your Laogun with your mind or third eye, and also with the byway, the crown chakra, and allow the chi to come into the byway, and your hands are guiding the chi down into the central main meridian channel of the body, filling the chi into the body, guiding it into all the different pathways, meridian channels and vessels, into the organs, into all the trillions of cells you have, and into the deep parts of your bone marrow. Coming in, pushing out any stagnation and blockages, which can cause disease and illness. Pushing it all the way down into the earth, feeling your body filling up with wonderful chi energy. Let's do it one more time. Bringing your arms up, inhaling, focusing on the Lao Gong and the mind, visualizing the chi, whether it's a white light or green light coming in, bathing all your chi, all your cells, coming into the meridian main channel, and filling up into all the areas of your body, coming into your blood and lymph, your muscles, synovial fluids, filling up into the organs, tissues, ligaments, and joints, pushing out any stagnation. There. And one more movement, bringing your hands into the front of the body, gathering all the chi, and just pulling it into the lower dantian, which is in the couple inches down from your navel. It's the battery center. Go ahead and visualize all that chi particles getting more concentrated into a chi ball, pushing it in, storing the chi, and feeling the fullness of the chi. As you bring your hands down, and just giving appreciation to your practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. And this morning, our opening song is taken from the final tweet of Dr. Maya Angelou, and it's, if you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. And when Erika and I recorded this song, we put the music to it, it was with this level of awareness that it's this inner voice, the one that is always there. And we'll talk about that more after the song itself. But in this moment, I am opening up to the closing of the senses, the idea that turning off the 5 physical senses and allowing my attention to go within, I open up to a whole world of beauty, a whole world of sound, an entire universe, stellar systems, solar systems, that is in my body. Yogananda says, thousands of suns and moons from my body doth shine. Allowing for this divine realization, the finer vibrations of light, of sound, of silence. Om. Now we enter into quietude. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. If you listen to yourself in the quietude,
you might hear the voice of God. The voice of God, the voice of God. You might hear the voice of God. The voice of God, the voice of God. You might hear the voice of God. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God. If you listen to yourself in the quietude, may you hear the voice of God.
Yeah, just taking that in, and it is in, an interesting thing about that song is we were going to go back in and just add a high part at the end of may you hear the voice of God, and I always hear it. It gets part in my head that's not on the recording, and I start thinking about why can I hear that in my head and I'm not hearing it outside. Just like you have the same experience of if you got a favorite song, you might wake up hearing a song in your head. It's coming from the inside. How is that possible if you don't have the radio on listening to it? Why is it that we can experience music in our head? Once it's in there, it finds some resonant groove that keeps it alive inside of us. What is that about? For me, it just speaks volumes, no pun intended, actually, if you know me. It speaks volumes to the fact that as within, so without. And there's this koan, if you're of a Buddhist faith tradition or know anything about it, there are these questions, koans. One of the things I love about the idea of koans, Koans, is each individual must answer it for themselves. And there's not one answer. You might have a genpo, somebody who is the master teacher of this faith tradition that is your master teacher, that helps you bring out the master in you or in me, in the individual. But they don't tell you the definitive, absolute response to a koan. It is for each individual to experience it the way they experience it as truth, based on who they are, who we are. So each individual gets a different response to it because of the inner life and our inner awakening and how the infinite speaks through the language of our heart. So one of the things that used to happen for me and still does is I can tune into the inner song of my being and I can tell how I'm actually feeling about anything. How do I feel about this? I tune in and I listen to what it feels like inside of me. And I was like, I don't know. or I'll tune into the colors I'm seeing inside, and I'll tell you how I feel, how I really think and feel, not what the world thinks I should think and feel. And this is kind of the stepping off point, the jumping off point with SoulCall Global, is each individual, through the language of our souls, the language of our heart, sings the song of the individual soul. And we sing it back to itself, as we said in one of our songs. So this particular koan that I loved was, if you blot out sense and sound, if you blot out sense and sound, what do you hear? When we turn off all of this, if you listen to yourself in the quietude, you might hear the voice of God, that response. So if you go into the silence, turning off all the senses with a question, or just with nothing but an offering of, what a day, please, this all I have today are my challenges for you, Infinite One. Here's the vibration of my day. Not as beautiful as this, that, it doesn't matter. There's no such thing as good, bad, horrible day, bad day. It's all about learning and growing, and no matter how old we are or how young we are, there's always this opportunity for growth and experiencing challenge, and what's in it for us, asking this question. What I like to liken it to is to go to the topic of today's talk, which is causeiousness. So those of you who get our newsletter, and we ask you to subscribe to the newsletter, share us on Facebook and social media, and please subscribe. If you're watching us live right now, or if you're tuning in later, please subscribe to us on our YouTube channel too. SoulCallGlobal.org is where you can sign up for the newsletter. But in the newsletter, the first of every month, we have Christy the Wordsmith. She offers new words, and that's because we love words. And when I was 9 years old or so, my family used to get the Reader's Digest magazine, and I loved it because, first of all, we weren't allowed to be just lying around doing nothing. If you were reading in my house, it was kind of like you could be doing something. I was reading. That wasn't a thing, like you had to go do something. So I would hide away, and the Reader's Digest was perfect because all of the stories were short. So I could probably sneak in a quick read before somebody saw me doing nothing. And so the thing that I loved, one of my favorites, was the words, pays to enrich your word power. And so I always thought about making up words. I like to make up words. And one of the words I made up from my inspirations of that is a word called causeiousness. Causeiousness. And the word, my definition of my word is operating from the world of cause, the highest mind, rather than the effect world, or that which is already in form. So operating from the world of cause rather than the world of effect, things that have already been experienced through the sights, the sounds, the tastes, the smells of our senses, the touch, living from the inside. And so when we do this, I want to be clear about a couple more definitions for us. People say, like, okay, so living from pure spirit. I'm going to give us two definitions, and I've taken from this, one of my favorite books that I bring to the beach. This is what I read. Hilarious. So anyway, the definition for spirit and the definition for God, or infinite source, goddess, whatever you call that thing. So spirit signifies the unmanifested absolute. This is what I'm talking about. Living from the world of cause. Causeiousness is participating with, initiating something, that faith in things not yet seen, bringing something to fruition for others to enjoy with the senses, that appear to come from inside, from that place, kind of like we can hear the world of music inside. But how is that possible? It's because there's this whole inner radio system that we have working with us at all times. It's just how often do we tune in? So tuning our radio dial on the inside to infinite, to quietude, to the voice of God, goddess, which speaks your language, my language, the individual language of the soul. Each one of us, it's going to come through slightly differently, and yet we can enjoy similar experience together, like a symphony orchestra of sound, of cosmic resonance, bringing to fruition life, the joy of life, the challenge of life. So the definition of spirit signifies the unmanifested absolute, and the darkless dark and the lightless light of eternal infinity. The darkless dark and the lightless light of eternal infinity, void of even the slightest ripple of thought or vibratory activity to manifest creation, where even the categories of space, time, and dimension are non existent. There abides only ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss with a capital B, that is spirit, where no sun, no moon, or fire shines. That is my supreme abode. That's what the infinite cosmic intelligence is. It's before we think, before we do anything, it's just hanging out in that space of zero, the balance bubble. If you're a carpenter, you're the bubble that is balanced perfectly. And as soon as we think something, we bring it into the world of at least duality, cause and effect, positive, negative. Those polarities have to exist. As soon as we think something into that space and bring it to the world, it operates from polarity, which is duality, but then also the triune nature, body, mind, spirit. Everything has a resonance from the absolute, whether it has a heartbeat or not. Everything we bring into fruition, like anything we can hold in our hands, is subjected to this triune nature of experiencing life. So then God implies the transcendental creator beyond creation, but existing in relation to the manifestation that it evolves from itself. So it exists in the manifestation of the things that came forth from it. This is why we always hear this, like the wave and the ocean. The wave cannot exist without the ocean, but the ocean can exist without the wave. And so a wave could be a big idea, but a drop could be like an individual who participates with a wave and then dissolves back into the ocean. So when we say things like, I am God, it's more important to recognize that it is the God of all that has brought me forth. And the more we can participate with the ocean, the more the waves can become ripples of love and peace, and not so much crashing and thrashing, unless it's time to recreate our world. Maybe some things like we're experiencing right now, the chaos of a crashing wave, can look violent sometimes, and sometimes it is earth-shattering. What emerges next is the question. Things shift and change. I am at the beach this week, one of my favorite places. I haven't been here in over 21 years at this specific beach. And there's a particular candy store, a taffy, saltwater taffy, which personally I'm not particularly fond of, but it's just the thing. It was one of the smells I was looking forward to, and one of the sights I was looking forward to, watching families like scramble in there and kids chewing. You know, when you eat taffy, how I just don't. So, but it's closed. It's gone. It disappeared 2 years ago when, for business reasons and things like this, rents went up. All these things that business people cause to shift and change. But it's missing, and it's just empty. The space is still there, and the sign is down, but you could see the shadow of the sign, and it's kind of like, whoa, yeah, the unmanifested cause of cavities. Exactly, taffy. That's hilarious. I love it. But that's it. So as things shift and change, come and go, like the ocean and the wave, I think about who I was 20 some years ago. I was exactly the same human being, how my life has changed in participation with the quietude, what I have brought forth, the things I was thinking about doing 20 some odd years ago. A lot of them have come to pass. And I'm, in the creation of SoulCall is one of the things that's been a dream for a long time, which is becoming fully awakened right now. And the more I tap into the quietude, into the causeiousness, operating from cause and bringing out in the world of all the senses, the effect of my cause is SoulCall. And here we are participating in it. Again, whether we're live today or you're tuning in a little bit later, we're all participating in this consciousness together, hearing the same message, but thinking different things. Our minds will springboard into different areas just having listened. And that's the idea. That's the idea. The infinite loves to create, and it likes to change things. So our nature of existence is change, but our permanent place is in that changeless, the changeless part, the depths of it that brings forth all from the cause, from spirit. So when relative creation is dissolved again into its creator, then the infinite becomes spirit, the unmanifested absolute. So when I think about these things and causeiousness, I think about how we can participate with this knowing. And Paramahansa Yogananda said, self-realization is the knowing in all parts, body, mind, and soul, that you are now in possession of the presence of, he says, God. God is infinite. One with the source of all. You don't have to pray that it come to you, because the omnipresence is your omnipresence. All you need to do is improve your knowing. All I need to do is improve my knowing. So sometimes it's in meditation. I can improve my knowing by turning all of this off. And another thing, another koan from the 1780s, Kyoto, Japan, Genpo said, a doctrine that ignores everyday life is not a true doctrine. A doctrine which ignores everyday life is not a true doctrine. So it doesn't mean, but when we say meditate, you have to turn off your life and become a monk or a nun or whatever else they call them in different places. You don't have to become the renunciant of the world. No, what it means is to learn how to participate more fully with what the world actually is, and to recognize what it's not. And the ocean, being at the beach, being on the boardwalk, is a really good reminder of the ocean is right there. An amazing experience of participating with the awe of creation before we started to put our thoughts and ideas. All the businesses lined up, sharing what they think we need. That's yet another wave in the ocean. But we can be at choice with all of that. Each individual has choice. And we can operate from cause, from our center, from causeiousness, to decide what we would like to participate with. Yes when we mean yes, no when we mean no. That's how these cosmic wheels of time, like the tiny little wheels on a watch, would be yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But as it turns the larger wheels of time, we could start to see, like 20 some years ago when I was here, I was dreaming, writing about some of the things that have transpired in the last 21 years. I didn't even know Erika Luckett 21 years ago. Now I do. And it was a big chunk of the book of my life. And here we are into the next chunk of the book of my life. But always going back to the center. Our lives will change. Things will change here, but my sacred center remains intact. And that's my home base. It's that inner life. Turning off all of the ego senses from time to time, as often as we can, getting back to the center, and then participating with life fully as it is. Not to renounce everything in the world, but participating with it in a way that we are awakened and aware of what this world is actually offering, and how intact we can keep that still small voice that is inside. What song is playing in your head right now? I feel like Capital One. What's in your wallet? What's in your noggin? What do you hear when you hear nothing else coming from the inside? What's the inner voice? Causeiousness. What's bringing forth from inside? Loving, thoughtful voices to calm you, to calm yourself. A beautiful song to soothe you, make you feel that love. You can say, I am loved. I am held in the infinite source of love, because in fact, I am a spark of the divine creator. I am love. I come from love. I can be nothing else. I can offer nothing else. And even in spite of this offering, sometimes, things just don't connect. It doesn't mean it's not offered with love. It's just sometimes people's thoughts, or my thoughts, sometimes get in the way of a perfectly soundless communication. Sometimes it's like, let's not talk for a minute. Let's just let's just breathe together for a minute. Meditation helps us to do that. Turn it all off. Turn it all off. I was thinking about operating from this world, and so I choose to speak into my world, the words that help soothe me. And my little slogan for that is my world, my words. My world, inside my words. You know, you could be thinking something on the inside. It might not be the wisest thing to come out with. You know, the art is in knowing when to speak and when not to speak. And most often, words don't always help so much, depending on how the person you're speaking with, how they're wired. We don't know everybody's life experience. Well, we can be silent and offer presence, offer peace, offer love, and just observe, you know. And then it's okay to say what we need from the causeiousness, from source. But this causeiousness space, this place of spirit, before we even think and put a ripple out there, we can just stay in this center before anything happens and choose what kind of a ripple you want, what kind of a wave you want to be, what kind of a drop you'll be as you turn and dance like the whirling dervishes. Those drops spin and turn, raindrops spin and turn as they come to the earth to quench the thirst of planet Earth and to all of us too. So operating from cause and seeing what comes to you. I'm thinking about times when I've been really, really present without thinking. This started happening for me when I was a little kid, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then on continued throughout my life. But my first recollections of feeling this idea of, I was playing with a little matchbox car on a raised carpet. And I was so focused on the little matchbox car that I was driving around the living room carpet of the house I grew up in. And in my mind, I was in the car, all in the car. And I had a little family in there. And there was a conversation going on about where they were going. And I was just so in it. It was meditation. I did not realize that's what I was doing. I didn't know that word. Next thing I knew, I was everywhere. It looked like white fuzz on a television set. It was like this universal cosmic consciousness experience. And while I was in that state, this has happened several times, but this was one of the first times I remember. While I was in this state, I recalled a knowing that I was everywhere and everything present. I was everywhere. And shoom, next thing you know, I'm back in the living room with this little car in my hand. And I just kind of dropped the car and I just sat back for a minute. I think I was 7. And I walked into the kitchen. My mom always loved when I would walk in with this particular look on my face because she knew I was going to come out with some doozy of a question for her. And I just said, I didn't have the language. You know, if I wasn't your kid, I said, whose kid would I be? I was trying to figure out, I was just everywhere. Why here? Like I could have been born anywhere in any time. There was no sense of any of this. And she just kind of looked at me. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, if I wasn't born and lived in this house, which house would I live in? Whose kid would I be? And to my mom, these questions were, she didn't have an answer. Who has an answer for that? She just looked at me and she said, don't you like living here? I was like, oh, forget it. So I'm not going to get the answer from her. Right. So I just started to realize there were a lot more things. I went out and sat in the yard in my favorite cherry tree. The apple tree was for some things. The cherry tree was where I heard more sound. And I just stayed there for a long time, contemplating. You know, so SoulCall centers for contemplation and meditation are coming. Is what we are looking to do right now, is to have our own physical space where we can create meditation gardens for us to contemplate these things, these experiences we are blessed with as individuals that help us connect to the larger universe of love, of source, of power, of joy that is within, to help us better navigate what happens as we experience life without. And so like later on this afternoon, I'm going to be in the ocean. I might get a boogie board, maybe, you know, to ride the waves in. What do we need to ride the waves of life? Some boogie board of consciousness, something that helps us to play with the thing that could potentially overpower us at some point. How can we play with these things a little bit more than feel we have to dominate them? It's one of the things I love about the ocean is it's such a reminder of I am not the world. I am not all of the things going on in the world. I am not the chaos of the world. I am a spark of the infinite joy. I'm part of the solution of my own life. And it's up to me to create my happiness based on which waves are coming in. Can I ride this one in or should I wait? Just looking at, and it's interesting too, because if you know anything about riptides, where the riptides are, it looks totally smooth and calm. People like this, all of a sudden you get caught in a riptide of what the heck was that? So things can be deceiving, but learning to listen from the inside, that quietude, operating from causeiousness. May you hear the voice of God, and may you begin each day with gratitude for what your life is offering, for the potential to learn that if you can hear music in your head, you can hear the voice of the infinite as well. And whatever is coming forth from the inside out, may it be something that soothes your beautiful soul and helps you to become more of who you truly are. And what is your face? Who are you? Is the question. Your infinite joy, and clear away all that is unlike that, and allow yourself to participate with awe, gratitude, and awe for this incredible experience we call life. Enjoy this song called Awe, written by Erika Lucken.
Certainty's like clutching what you know inside your fist, like there's no room to question what might loom beyond your wrist. It's the comfort of right angles, the ease of solid lines. It's the emptiness of a lonely box and the space that it defines. Oh, 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 oh. There were times in school when I had fun with the exactness of the game, thinking I would know a flower once I could say its Latin names, like names and addresses, dates of birth would readily explain why some people crave the sun while others love the rain. Holding the mystery, step into the river and feel eternity as the sun will rise and the rain will fall. May I begin each day with gratitude and awe. If I could define in this vast design what was possible or real, I'd never see the desert turn to water or the ocean turn to steel. But I've seen those wonders many times, and each time I recall the wonder, the wonder, the wonder of it all. Holding the mystery, step into the river and feel eternity as the sun will rise and the rain will fall. May I begin each day with gratitude and awe. If we're not in awe, we're not paying attention. If we're not in awe, we're not paying attention. If we're not in awe, we're not paying attention. Inside every one of us, contained in each square inch of blood, there are 75 billion cells. 75 billion cells functioning on our behalf, so that we may simply be. I think of that as a conspiracy of life. And since I'm being a bit reflective, I'd like to add to this human life perspective. If we took every cell phone on the planet, every telephone line on the globe, and registered the conversations conveyed, the trillions of messages relayed, the entire system would still not approximate the complexity or functionality of a single human brain. That's just another way of trying to portray the miraculous privilege we have of playing this human game, holding the mystery. Step into the river and feel eternity as the sun will rise and the rain will fall. May we begin each day with gratitude and awe, holding the mystery. Step into the river and feel eternity as the sun will rise and the rain will fall. May we begin each day with gratitude and awe. May we begin each day with gratitude and awe.
May we begin each day with, I wish Natalia could jump in, gratitude and bang. Oh, yeah, and you just hold it until you can't stand it anymore. Holding that mystery and sharing it with others. Thank you for sharing the mystery of yourselves with us today on SoulCall. And if you're watching this later, just know that the vibrations, whether you watch live or later, we create this resonant field of joy, of awe, of your soul's calling, spilling out into infinity. And this is what we can do for each other. SoulCallGlobal.org. You'll find out more about some of the classes we have happening right now and things coming up later in the fall. I know in mid-August, we are happy to be welcoming a yoga practice with Natalia Zuckerman. It'll happen from 9 to 10, I think, 9 to 9:45. It'll happen before, it'll be more in the newsletter, right before SoulCall Sunday. So if you wanted to get yourselves into a nice, beautiful yoga practice, moving this beautiful body, then when we do Qigong, pulling the energy in, that would be great. We thank you for your donations. No amount is too big or too small. To donate, please go to soulcallglobal.org/donate. And we are actively seeking funds now and accepting funds for our autumn pledge drive, which is going to help children who need things to go back to school, families who are still falling short with the opportunity to keep themselves safe and nourished with good food. So if you are able, please give what you can. We accept and say thank you. And something you might want to consider, as one of our board members, Helen Yee, did. She made us her birthday donation on Facebook. So look for us, SoulCall Inc., if you would like to create a birthday opportunity for SoulCall. I'm going to be doing that with mine next month, but consider it. But thank you for your donations. Also, if you are in need of prayer, prayers at soulcallglobal.org. Our prayer team will pray with you, for you, for several weeks. And also we'll be offering Reiki opportunities. If there is a need for remote healing, we've got a healing team who can send you Reiki energy through the ether, just like that song gets stuck in your head. Energy is here for us to help each other out with too. And we know how to direct it with a loving heart. It all goes together this way. So please allow us to pray with you and for you. The SoulCall Sunday Rewind today is going to be maybe 15 minutes long max, because I want to go to the beach. And tomorrow night's Monday night meditation is going to be postponed just for 1 week, and we'll pick it up next week. So tomorrow's Monday meditation, it won't happen. And if you've already signed up, I'll send you a reminder email to let you know. But I want to maximize my time here to write. So I'm going to be meditating probably out on the beach, but find a quiet place, use some of the practices we've already shared, but picking up from there, it will go on. Meditation Mondays from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, starting next week. And let's see, we've got our poetry classes already in full swing. Natalia, am I missing something? Yes, SoulCall Sunday presents the question and answer opportunity with Dorothy Fadiman, Oscar-nominated, 2-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, Friday, July 30th, 6:30 Eastern. We invite you to go to our website under events and classes and click on the link for Dorothy's film, Radiance. And then go watch it on her website, along with any of the other award-winning films she's created, a documentary filmmaker. I think the movie itself is 20 or 25 minutes long. But then write down your questions, and on July 30th, we'll have Dorothy Fadiman with us in a Zoom room for a question answer, which is an extraordinary opportunity. So please partake of that opportunity. And once again, please like us and share us with your friends on Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We thank you for helping spread the word about SoulCall Global and who we are, a conscious global community open at the heart. And coming soon will be our centers for contemplation, meditation, and creativity. So look forward to seeing you again sometime soon in one of the Zoom rooms for one of the classes. And until then, no matter where you are on the planet or what you're experiencing in this cosmic ocean of life, recognize that your boogie board of consciousness has what it needs to ride those waves. And remember always that you are loved. Peace and blessings.
One family, one people, one planet, one love, one